And we're back. Hey, it's Dude. And today I'm here to continue the Pillager Castle, Bastion, House, whatever it is. I have made a pretty substantial bit of progress. I have pretty much completed the floor, and that's about it. However, I did also add the emblem that the Woodland Mansion has. There it is. I also added a door, and the way it works, the idea is that it is meant to be a sort of lifting door, where it gets pulled up, and it covers the entrance. The plot of land that I built on isn't really good for that kind of design mentality, but I can do some terraforming off camera to fix that. I have the floor done, but this is probably the most stark contrast, as it's made entirely of stone. This is pretty much the main entryway, the atrium, if you will. I've got ideas for what to put here, but this is effectively meant to be a sort of atrium, pretty much. It is not meant to be you don't stay in this room, pretty much. Also, I apologize if my voice cracks a lot. I'm doing this late at night again, and I've got some phlegm in my throat that I can't really get out. Excuse me. I'm also trying to work on the audio a bit. I put my desktop audio to be a little louder this time, so hopefully my game isn't so quiet. I've also turned my fan down so that it shouldn't be as loud. And my microphone is even closer so that I don't sound like I'm speaking from the other end of the room. As for all the snow here, well, it snowed, obviously. But now, because it snowed, the floor patterns are covered up. I wanted to go for a sort of pattern for every single room. I didn't want to reuse the same pattern. For this one, I've got a sort of arrows, pretty much. This one has more circular designs. I might make this into like a library of sorts. This one is, well, this is the floor from the last video, and this is going to be another sort of throughway. Much less a room and more so you go this way, that way, that way, that way, or up and down. Whoops. This is a very clear chessboard inspiration. But the room wasn't big enough to make it perfectly fit, so I used polished basalt to fill the gap, pretty much. I don't know what I'll put here yet. And for this one, it's a sort of variation of the symbol from the middle room. I might make this the dining area, because, well, I don't really know. Yeah, I keep telling you I don't script these. But for now, I'm not going to worry about decorating or functionality. I'm going to be making the walls. And I'm not just going to make simple flat surfaces either. I am going to... Actually, I'm going to start on the central area first. Mainly here. I'm going to go for a design that sort of looks like a cathedral. I'm going to have big arched windows, and for that I need deep slate. I'm going to use polished deep slate in order to add block variety to the build. Because that way I avoid the monotony of just using chiseled deep slate bricks. Don't get me wrong, I like the deep slate bricks, but a little variety never hurts at all. not to mention, I actually learned something really interesting. The polished variants and smooth variants, I think, of the stone are actually stronger than the usual variety. And it has to do with the fact that usually to make smooth stone variants, you have to cook it in a furnace twice. So it's being compressed further. It's denser. And I think that's really cool. I'm going to get some glass now. I may use a different type of glass, but for now I'm just going to use standard glass. And this is largely what I'm going to go with, this kind of arch design. Whoops. Whoops. And I will have another one in the center as well. Also, I have used obsidian to form sort of shells underneath the rooms here, because I might make it into a basement layer, and with obsidian it would be impenetrable, Jesus Christ. However, I did make a small mistake. I said that it could only be destroyed by diamond, but they also added netherite in the nether update, and that can break obsidian too. My mistake. I'm going to get more deep slate. I think this time I will use cobbled deep slate. It looks rough, it looks natural, and I am going to have it go up and form a sort of pillar pattern. There we go. And I'm going to grab more deep slate, and I'm going to grab both the, well, I don't know about the stairs, but, let's see what works. I'll try chiseled brick stairs, because, there we go. Now it sort of subtly leans into the build, into the glass windows. And if we were to look at it from outside, it would sort of overhang, you see? Something I want to mention is that I don't plan to just do Minecraft. I will do more variety content later down the line. I'm just not entirely sure what I'm going to do yet. If I had a capture card, I could stream games directly off of my Switch. But unfortunately, the Switch is pretty much all I have. I don't have an Xbox or a PlayStation, and my computer is not strong enough to really play any relevant games nowadays. So there is that to consider. I like that. There we go. I might use tinted glass in the future when I inevitably replace these. It's a dark block, so it matches the aesthetic of the build, and it also adds an air of mood to the interior. Since the thing about tinted glass is it does not allow light. You can see through it, but light cannot go through it. Is it? Yes, it is. Ah, something in my eye. There we go. And now we just we rinse and repeat pretty much. I do want to try and cover up the obsidian since I wanted to have more depth. So I think what I will do is I will use. Should I use deep slate or blackstone? Let's try polished blackstone. Yeah, that looks alright. Excuse me. And there we have it. Very nice. Very, very atmospheric. I'm gonna largely replicate the design for this room. However, I think I'm going to make some alterations off camera in preparation for the next video. Excuse me. This silence is deafening. Let's fix that. Let's play a classic. Here we go. Again, I really can't take risks with YouTube's copyright ID system, but music that plays in the game itself that's not copyrighted work should be fine. I really hope so. Yeah. Bunny. You know, sometimes there's this meme that there's this meme that shows up every now and then, where you just kind of get a flash of inspiration, and so you hop on Minecraft, and then when the inspiration leaves, you get off, and you don't really get back on until the inspiration comes back. I've definitely felt this once or twice. And it's not an unwelcome feeling. I do like it, because I do like playing this game. It's just that sometimes you can only think of so many ideas. Whoops. Which is why I do get excited when they add even the simplest of blocks, like the new resin blocks that's part of the Pale Garden. Because it just gives me a bunch of ideas. Ideas that may never come to pass, but ideas nonetheless. Because it's just another reason to play this game, you know? All right. I might try something with the polished basalt. I could make this a sort of enchantment room, or maybe just a general magic kind of room. Not entirely sure, but I don't use polished basalt at all very often, so I take whatever chance I can get. Trying to think of something. I'm probably not cooking with this idea, as they say, but it's something. Again, I'm more than likely going to replace all of this with tinted glass when I do touch-ups before the next video. I believe it is my theory that tinted glass is more durable, if that makes sense. It's like, when you place tinted glass, it makes the same sound as stone, although so does regular glass. I guess the best way I could explain it is that it's like, it sounds denser. Just sounds denser. Whoops. Gotta stop doing that. Now I just need to, figure this out. Although I do wonder, how strong is basalt? Because it sounds very gravelly and brittle when you place it and break it. So it makes me wonder how strong basalt is in real life. Although maybe I could use smooth basalt instead of polished basalt. On the floor at least. Heck, maybe you could replace the entire floor pattern so it's not just checkers. I don't know. I'll test it out in the fix up section. I don't know. There we go. Yeah, see, this just doesn't look right. Hold on, let me try this part right quick. Smooth basalt, because this is the type of basalt you find in geodes. That looks so much better, I think. Whoops. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm using this. I'm going to use this. As for these gaps, I am going to use walls to add a layer of depth to the walls here. Or, well, stone walls, pretty much. Whoops. Oop. Deep slate tile wall or deep slate brick wall? Let's try tiles. See how that works. What about quartz? Okay, quartz doesn't have a wall. Because I thought about using quartz, but does not have a wall variant, sadly. I could make this the enchantment room, or like just a general magic room. I think I said that already, but not entirely sure yet. Sorry if I'm repeating myself. I think for this one, I'm just going to make it solid wall. But I'm not just going to make it, you know, a flat wall, pretty much. I'm going to throw everything. I'm going to put on a new music disc. I'm going to put in one of the newer ones. Disc. Where is it? Where is it? I like this one. Dum bum 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 bum. Yeah. You know, the lore behind the Relic music disc is really interesting because isn't it supposed to be found using the archaeology stuff? It implies that the ancient people were able to make music like that way back when. It's like musical ability kind of regressed as time went on in the Minecraft universe. There we go. Now, the reason I had this little patch of polished basalt was because I had this idea where I could have them act as pillars. Because the thing about basalt is that, although you can find it in the overworld surrounding a geode, they're way more common in the nether. Because you just have these giant pillars of basalt just spanning from the floor to the ceiling. I believe it to be a sort of afterstate of lava. It's like those used to be lava falls, but then the basalt cooled. Or the lava cooled and became basalt. And I even think basalt is an igneous rock. But I'm not entirely sure on that. For these walls, I think I'm going to mostly use blackstone to help reinforce the idea that this is not a very welcoming place. Especially with blackstone looking a lot more brutal. It's like you find it in the closest thing Minecraft has to hell, and the piglins make their fortresses out of it. It's also decently defensive, since it is pretty resistant to blasts. Only real problem with it is that it is not very varied, if that makes sense. We have options for walls, but they're the same options as the regular blocks, just regular polished in bricks. I could try using concrete or maybe even glazed terracotta. But that's opening an entire new rabbit hole on whether I want to try and use that in other parts of the build. Hmm. It looks pretty basic, but I think it works. I think it works. There we go. There we go. Adds a sense of continuance. There we go. So the video's almost, well, it's over 40 minutes now. So after I do this, I'm definitely gonna wrap this up. I really don't want to make long form content like this, especially because I just don't really like. I highly doubt anyone's gonna be watching for this long, but I make these videos out of passion. So apologies if they end up being around the length of a YouTube essay. Wait a minute. Alright. I messed up on that. Again, this likely wouldn't be a problem if I had an editor, but I do not, unfortunately. Wait a minute. Now that's off center. I see now. There we go. Oh. I was about to have an anxiety attack. I thought the entire build was off-center, and I was gonna cry. But, thankfully it's not. Oh, thank God. Okay. Alright, and now we have walls. And that will do it for this video. Thank you for watching so much. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, let's just watch this sunset. Gonna grab that screenshot right quick. Use it as a thumbnail. There we go. That looks good. Thank you so much for watching. I really am grateful if you are. My name's Dude. Have a good night.